Hello, my name is the Reverend Alen McCulloch, and I'm presently the Parish Minister of Burnrain Lochmaddy, linked with Kilmuir and Pable. So I live in the manse in Pable on the Isle of North Uist here. I'm also presently the interim moderator for Benbecula, linked with Carnish Churches of Scotland. I'm going to show three different objects in this recording, all to do with my late parents-in-law. My late father-in-law came from the now uninhabited island of Scarp, just off the west coast of Harris, and my late mother-in-law came from Leverborough on the Isle of Harris also. My late father-in-law was called Duncan Mackay, a lovely gentleman, and very sadly he died in his late 70s, just about 2 or 3 years into our own marriage, when I met my wife, who's Sheena. She's a nurse. Her parents were living in Inverness, so our wedding was in Inverness East, Church of Scotland there on Academy Street. But as soon as I met my parents-in-law to be, I realised they were both native Gaelic speakers from the Isle of Harris. My father-in-law had been born on Scarp in 1913, and when he was a young man, like so many from here, he went off abroad. He went, in his case, to join the army. He joined the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders, so his basic training would have been at Cameron Barracks in Inverness. And then he was posted to, we think, the 2nd Battalion out in Palestine. And the first photograph here shows the battalion formed up on parade and marching with bayonets fixed, we think, somewhere in Palestine in the mid-1930s. And there's the photograph there for you. We can't identify where Papa is in those hundreds of soldiers marching along, but we believe he is somewhere in there. After a few years in the army, he actually bought himself out of the army and transferred into the Palestine Police. Britain had the mandate for Palestine from 1917, and we needed a police force, and so the Palestine Police was a very significant police force. And he, having started off as a constable, at one stage obviously became a sergeant, because his sergeant's stripes are in my possession, having inherited them. You can just see PP for Palestine Police in the middle of his sergeant's stripes there. Meanwhile, during the Second World War, he was one of those who, through a local newspaper in the Western Isles, we understand, asked for a pen friend, and one of the young ladies who wrote to him was my future mother-in-law, Mary Ann MacDonald from Leverborough. So it was that they corresponded during the Second World War, and she, in late 1945, not many months after the end of the Second World War, she took a ship from England out to Palestine, as it then was. So they could get married in the Church of Scotland in Jerusalem, St Andrew's, Jerusalem, where my wife and I were privileged to worship in January 2008 when we went to Israel for a week. And there they are, there in the middle of the photograph there. You can see them quite clearly, Duncan and Mary Ann. And they served in the first couple of years of their marriage, therefore, in Palestine. Then the families were evacuated, and eventually Britain, of course, pulled out as Israel formed in 1948. So the Palestine Police Force was disbanded, and they all had to find jobs somewhere else. There was a possibility that they might have gone to the Solomon Islands, but in fact he came back here to work in the prison service in England, and that's how, when my wife was born, they were living in London. So that's quite a journey, both for my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. My father-in-law heading out to Palestine in the mid-30s with the Camerons, and then going into the Palestine Police, and then my mother-in-law taking a ship all the way from England to Palestine to get married that day in January 1946. Thank you.